Hi everyone, Cameron Simmons here again with another video. The purpose of this one is going to be to provide an overview of the workers' compensation system, mainly because I have a lot of clients who come into my office and have no idea what it's about. It's the first time through the system. They don't know what it provides or how to get on it or who to contact or any of those instances. So first, workers' compensation is very much like normal insurance, only your employer pays for it. So what's supposed to happen is when you get hurt, then the workers' compensation insurance company gets involved and pays benefits. It was a change from our negligence-based system in the 1800s and early 1900s because that system was taking too long and keeping people out of the workplace, and we needed laborers to make the machine run. So North Carolina, like many states, in the early 1920s enacted their Workers' Compensation Act. In order for workers' compensation to apply, you have to have three or more employees at an employer. So your small mom and pop shops aren't really governed by the Workers' Compensation Act. And it was enacted mainly to make workplaces safer because the Industrial Revolution was here in the 1800s. And machines versus people is not a fair fight. So a lot more folks were getting hurt at work. And the states realized that they needed to do something for their workers to make these places safer and to keep the labor force strong. And this is mostly a state-based system. There is federal workers' compensation, but I don't practice in that field. I practice uh, in in North Carolina as a North Carolina Workers' Compensation Act attorney. And the states have different laws. So the benefits available to someone in North Carolina may be different than Virginia or Massachusetts or Florida. So you really need to talk to a practitioner that's within your state if you're looking for state-based benefits. These workers' compensation acts were also um, enacted to keep the injured workers off the welfare system because that's what was happening, especially in the negligence-based system where you had to sue your employer in normal court. It was taking way too long, and ultimately, the laborers couldn't afford to wait that long, and they couldn't afford to sue their employers, so they ended up on the welfare system, meaning the government's toll. I think the government got tired of that, so they invented these systems. So now that we know what it is, let's talk about what it covers. Because just because you're at work and you have pain doesn't mean it's workers' comp. It normally covers two different types of injuries. One is called an injury by accident, and the other is called an occupational disease. The injury by accident is more of an acute event or an immediate event, where an occupational disease often is characterized by a gradual injury to the employee. Now, both of those are terms of art and have been litigated heavily, and I'm not going over what they mean in today's video. If you want to know what they mean, you probably ought to be talking to an attorney, whether it be me or somebody else. Next, we need to talk about what this provides, what the Workers' Compensation Act provides. And normally it's two things. One is compensation, meaning if you're out of work and you're out of work because of your injury, then workers' comp owes you a paycheck. Now, it's not your normal paycheck, it's a bit less, but it's a paycheck to help you keep going while you're out getting medical treatment, and it's an incentive to get back to work. The second thing the Workers' Compensation Act normally provides is medical treatment. And it's 100% on the employer, meaning it's not like health insurance where you owe a copay or a deductible. Workers' comp pays 100%. Part of that medical treatment, they'll also pay for other things like a rehabilitation nurse, mileage if you're traveling from more than 20 miles round trip to the doctor or therapist. And it also provides for reimbursement, like for prescriptions. If you pay out of pocket, you can get your money back. Now let's talk about what workers' comp isn't. One of the big things that a lot of folks are surprised about is that workers' comp does not pay you for pain and suffering. That is not a recoverable damage. Is it fair? Not necessarily. But the Workers' Compensation Act was a compromise back in the 1920s, a compromise between, hey, we're going to give you some benefits early on, compensation and medical treatment, but we're going to take away some benefits from you on the back end, mainly pain and suffering. Workers' comp also doesn't provide you for things like I got evicted from my apartment, or I lost my house, or I had to give up my gun collection to Hawk because I couldn't make payments. because workers' comp doesn't pay at the regular rate like a normal salary does. None of that is recoverable. Also, one other thing that's not recoverable is if the insurance company or your employer acts poorly, there is no bad faith against them. There are bad faith claims normally in first party insurance, and that's again a term of art that I'm not going to describe here. But you can sue your own insurance company for bad faith, but you can't sue the workers' comp insurance company if they act poorly. Now, there are mechanisms under the Workers' Compensation Act to punish bad actors, but those have nothing to do with bad faith. So once you have an injury, normally what is supposed to happen is you tell your employer, you file some forms, mainly the Form 18 that will be described in another video, and your employer then files some forms and they get the workers' compensation insurance company involved. And that compensation insurance company will make a decision on how to handle your claim. They'll decide whether to accept your claim, at which point they'll pay benefits. They'll decide either maybe to deny your claim, at which point they will pay no benefits and you'll have to fight them. Or they'll decide that they want to pay some benefits, but they don't want to immediately accept your claim. All those forms are described in another video. They're the Form 60, Form 61, and Form 63. If you want to know what they are and how they work, listen to that other video. So that's an overview of the workers' compensation system here in North Carolina. If you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me or another board certified specialist in workers' comp. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching the video.